Hey, what's going on, YouTube? JD Moonin here. I know if you go and you look at my channel, I've kind of been all over the place. Not really knowing where I'm gonna go, what direction I'm gonna go. And I know I was gone, didn't make content for a very long time. So I mean, I was healing. I've been through a very, very hard time in my life. I was used on so many levels, and went through perhaps the worst relationship of my life. And that's saying something, because what my ex-wife did to me was pretty rough. But what I went through this time, I mean, there's nothing that compares. So, that during that whole time, I recorded. I've got so many recordings that I made in my audio notes on my phone, that just show the ups and downs, the turmoil of what you go through in a narcissistic relationship. And I've been thinking a lot about men specifically. We don't have a platform. Oftentimes we say we were abused, we're gonna be laughed at, or, look what Johnny Depp went through. You know what I mean? The YouTube movement, really, it did a lot of good things, but it also did a lot of bad things. It emboldened and empowered some women that are vile and just straight evil. And they virtually have no check. I spent a long time getting a very good name for myself. Do just different things. I've helped people almost all my life. And, then I went and I helped the FBI take down some really, really bad people. And, I had no idea that Spirit was guiding me to create those relationships with the FBI, because it was going to be crucial in my fight, against the person that was supposed to be in love with me, right? The person that I was supposed to have on my team. The amount of chaos that she would bring to my life and the amount of damage she would do to my life, I didn't even realize that I would have to have friends in high places because of just how important winning was for her. Didn't matter whose life she destroyed in the process, as long as she won. Well, whenever she went up against me, anybody who's ever watched me, especially with gaming and stuff like that, I'm not exactly the easiest foe. And I always say it all the time. I say, I've been playing 5D chess since, for centuries, right? Spirit gave me an excellent mind. I was built to deal with manipulators. I can see through their games. But just because I don't say anything doesn't mean I don't know, because I do know. And if you're hiding something, I know that too. I just don't say anything. Because I'm one of the people who believes that a fool who persists in their folly will become wise. I know I did. And so I assume everybody else does too. I think at some point they will. Maybe they have to come back here and they have to go through a couple of lives doing this bullshit. Then they finally catch on. But so what I've decided I'm going to do is I feel like men need a platform that have been abused. I'm not talking about necessarily physical abuse. I understand that physical abuse happens to primarily women, and that is very sad. Same thing with sexual abuse. But men get sexually abused in a different way. It's different. Men are forceful. Women are manipulative and vindictive. Not all of them, I'm saying, the evil ones are this way. They're vindictive. They're manipulative. And the things they will put you through in your mind, it's so mind-bending. I think that if people actually saw what happens to somebody's mind during that process, I think that they would look at specifically covert narcissism in a completely different way. Because I feel like even, there's an author who has written about covert narcissism, and even she goes on to state that it's widely overlooked. It's not even recognize, because it's so subtle, it's so manipulative, that even from a man that's that way, that most people don't even notice it, until the woman or the male is getting left, after 25 years of marriage. And when they go to talk about what they've been through, they're shaking. I remember I was going through this period when I would start just trying to talk about, just thinking about what I went through over the last 5 years, with not just my ex, but other people. I mean, I would start shaking. It's abuse on such an egregious level that, I think the only way to really put light on it is to release basically the recordings I have. I mean, and I don't care if people hear me crying on that stuff. I personally don't give a shit. Everybody should cry. It's healing. That's how you get over stuff, by crying. Being a tough guy, that's karmic bullshit. That's all ego. If you don't cry, then you haven't gotten over stuff. But I mean, you're gonna hear me go up and down, and I mean, just all over the place because of what was being done to my mind. The things I was being accused of, just absolutely absurd. Some of the stuff I was being accused of, and then on top of that, the amount of times I would hear, and when I'm literally giving everything I have to give, I was literally starving and would send her the only $20 I could get my hands on, right? Because I was told it was for a daughter, or that she needed gas, and so I would go out of my way to get that. No gratitude. And then if I didn't have it, it was like the fucking wicked bitch of the West, just the things. I mean, one time she literally told me on the phone, she was like, if you don't have any money to send me, then don't bother calling me again. I was like, whoa, I was like, holy fuck. And that, I mean, that was said to me after I'm already like 4 years invested, you're sitting there like, jaw dropped, like I've already sold all my assets and stuff. So the point that I'm trying to make is that men get abused too, and I'm going to show the world what happens to us, because you can go on Quora and you can hear these guys talk about it and shit, and nobody says anything. And what's crazy is the woman has the upper hand, and oftentimes these guys who are not harassing anybody, they're being provoked, go to jail on harassment charge, and they actually get charges that stick. That's what happened to me. But because of the prestige that I had built and the name that I had made myself, I was able to fight back. And so that's where this is like a different situation, because she didn't win, I did, and that's the difference here. I was able to defend myself against her. And that's what I feel like, I feel like I was put in that scenario for this very reason, because for all the men out there who don't have anybody to fight for them, who have their lawyer did the same thing mine did. My lawyer was I paid for my lawyer too, and he was such a horrendous piece of shit. He ends up turning on me at one point, okay? This is, I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of the system is against the man. And a good woman's not going to take advantage of that. She's going to use the system for what it's for. However, these leeches and these, succubus women, these just narcissistic, nasty, vile pieces of shit, that just don't care who they step on, quite frankly. They will use the system in so many ways, and they will destroy a man's everything. And it's to avoid accountability for the destruction they've done to that person's life, for leading them on, for breadcrumbing them, cheating on them. I mean, you name it. I mean, and they do it, okay? And the funny thing was this narcissist, if they know what love is, right? This one, she must have fallen in love with me and some, or if had some kind of feelings for me. And I guess this wasn't normal because, see, she came clean and admitted to some things that I don't even think she remembers admitting to. You know, she admitted that she does everything in excess, and asked me why I do, you know, that I shouldn't help her and stuff like this, because I'll take, you know, but you also have to understand too, this is a manipulation tactic. So anyways, I just want to let you guys know that's what's going to happen now for the future of my channel. For right now, you know, I know I've done all these other things, but I've been trying to find a passion somewhere, a passion and a drive to do something. And you have to understand, I was damaged so bad, guys. It's been, I took it from every angle. Okay. And it's taken me this long to recover. My mind was just, it was destroyed, you know, so I started growing my hair out, basically. My hair has been being grown out since I started my healing journey. And it's been quite a process. If you've never been a victim of narcissistic abuse, you know, and I don't like that word victim. If you've never experienced narcissistic abuse in a relationship, it's bad. And, you know, I see these videos on YouTube and stuff, you know, people trying to give advice, but nobody, I mean, people care to a point if they know what actually is being done. But I think that if people see what happens to somebody, hear the actual recording when I'm in the moment of the things that I want to say, of how crazy you go. I mean, the mental breakdown is real, and I'm not somebody who's easy to break down mentally. I don't back down from anything, and I can tell you that woman almost broke me. You know, and I watched one woman, the way she treated somebody. I mean, he killed himself. You know, I mean, if he didn't, he reverted so far back into his addiction that it killed him. You know, and so I want to, you know, I feel like it's my duty to also release this information for him, for what he went through, because people need to be aware, and there needs to be something out there for guys who are going through this shit to find, you know, help, or at least somebody to relate with, you know. So I also want to start, you know, I want to work on getting an organization together to help, you know, men out who are going through this. You know, we have all these things to help women, but there's nothing out there to help men. And I mean, our mental health is just as important, you know. I mean, just like, oh, frail woman, you know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's sad what happens to them, but I mean, it's sad what happens to us too. And me being a victim to it, you know, like I said, I hate that fucking word. Me having experienced it on the level that I did, I'm gonna take action. You know, I mean, there's a lot of men out there that are going through the shit that I did, and, you know, in the thick of it right now, and they need help, and they have no help, and they can't turn and say anything to anybody because it's gonna get flipped on them like it got flipped on me. The only thing was I was better. And that she wasn't ready for that, because she hadn't lost, but she lost against me, you know. And so her little band of friends or whatever, you know, they gotta talk shit all they want, but at the end of the day, I'm the one who won, you know, because she was being evil and I was innocent. I was being lied about. What was said about me wasn't true, and that's what these narcissists do. They lie, and everybody buys it. Couldn't do it against me. All right. So yeah, that's what to expect. I'm going to really focus on that. Just bear in mind, guys, that some of the stuff you're going to hear in these recordings, I mean, it's me falling apart. You know, you're going to hear me crying. You're going to hear me mad. You're going to hear me just all kinds of stuff. And sometimes in the same day, in the same hour, the same 5 minutes. Same recording. I'll go from one extreme to the other. I mean, it's what was being done to me mentally was by design. It was practice. It was perfected, but she had met her match. So without further ado, the next videos are going to be some of those recordings, and I'm also going to be releasing the letters that I wrote. I wrote letters. I wrote a lot of writings during that time period. I have basically the entire relationship documented, the abuse and what I went through, because I'm a writer and I'm a content creator, and the way I deal with a lot of stuff, the way I get stuff out, the way I express myself is through my words, and it's been a humbling experience. I'm a very different person now than I was 5 years ago. And what changed me to how I am now was not my grandma dying. It was what was done to me. So anyways, I love all y'all. And I'm hoping that, these videos can help somebody out there. And if you are going through some kind of abuse right now, just know that in the future there will be an organization, because I'm gonna start putting I'm getting my passion back, and I am going to be dedicated to helping men out there who went through what I did, because we don't need a bunch of men killing themselves. We just don't. We don't need anybody killing themselves, and that's people who don't have the same mental fortitude that I have, and trust me, I have a lot. They will end up like one of the men that I'm making this content for. Anyways, sending y'all love and light. Love you all. Thanks for everybody who's watched me out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to donate to the channel and help out. The donation link is right there on the channel. It's also in the video. Yeah, guys. So that's what's coming, and I'm serious. I'm gonna be quite passionate about it. I just had to find out what I really was being called to do, and I think this is it. Anyways, love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.